Welcome to the Vertical Club. The Vertical Club is America's first indoor rock climbing gym. Inside the Vertical Club, we've created artificial climbing walls and bouldering problems to simulate outdoor rock. The climbs range in difficulty from a 5-3 route on a 65-degree slab to 5-12 moves through a 110-degree overhang. Free weights and aerobic machines round out our program for complete training and fitness. The objectives of the Vertical Club are to promote the sport of rock climbing and to enhance climbing safety and performance through training programs and expert instruction. Since the Vertical Club opened its doors in 1987, we've learned a lot about physiology and climbing-specific training. From hands-on experience, the Vertical Club has developed successful training programs that have proven effective in boosting performance and preventing injuries with climbers of all levels. The controlled environment with indoor artificial walls and exercise equipment allows for a consistent, safe, and enjoyable experience. The increase in the popularity of rock climbing has led to increasing athletic standards. Climbers have learned that regular muscle fitness training is the best way to improve performance, safety, and enjoyment. The top climbers have increased their performance levels through exercises that strengthen and stretch the muscles used in climbing. Additionally, climbers have learned the importance of exercises that protect against muscle and tendon injuries that sometimes result from hard climbing. At the Vertical Club, we find that climbers increase their muscular strength very quickly, allowing some to rapidly reach higher levels of performance. However, tendon and joint tissues do not develop as quickly as muscle tissues. Newly acquired strength often leads to injuries from overuse. Only time, patience, and specialized exercises will develop the tendon and joint strength needed to endure the forces that climbing generates. Our host, Christian Griffith, was born and raised in Boulder, Colorado. He began rock climbing there at the age of 12. Since his late teens, Christian has been a driving force on the American rock climbing scene. A leader in modern rock climbing in this country, Christian has always maintained a progressive attitude. And now, at the age of 26, he is currently absorbed in course setting on artificial climbing walls for competitions. He has been an official route designer for national and World Cup events. He is also owner-designer for Verve, a climbing soft goods company.
Hi, my name is Christian Griffith, and I'll be your host for the first Vertical Club training video. In this video, we'll convey some of the important principles of rock climbing conditioning. Our main goal is to focus on the exercises that will protect you from injury and will also enhance your climbing performance. Your training sessions should definitely begin with a warm-up phase. This should include both low-load exercises and stretching.
Warm muscles function better and are more injury resistant. Warming up augments the neural control of muscles, and this helps you climb more efficiently and with greater precision. Stretching alone does not constitute warming up because it does not elevate the temperature of the body. Increased body temperature enhances muscular performance and injury resistance. Use a stair machine or perform some other aerobic exercise for about 5 to 10 minutes to increase body temperature. Also, bouldering for a few minutes on a wall that has large holes is an excellent way to warm up climbing muscles prior to stretching.
Stretching functions as a key ingredient in climbing training. It serves as an important warm-up, and proper stretching improves your range of motion.
Stretching enhances your flexibility, and flexibility permits the optimal positioning of one's center of gravity during climbing movements. It also enhances high stepping and stemming. The approach recommended is called static stretching because it is safe, effective, and entails only moderate discomfort. The notion is to move gently into a stretch until you reach a point that is mildly uncomfortable. For best results, hold this position for at least 30 seconds. Each stretch in the warm-up routine should be performed at least 3 times. For best results, perform your stretches 5 to 8 times per workout.
I prefer to do the bulk of my warm-up stretches as a series of combined lengthening movements.
The first combination of stretches focuses on the flexibility necessary for high-step movement. The goal of the high step is to bring the foot very high and to transfer weight with a minimum of disturbance to the balance of the body. On steep terrain, keep your hips close to the rock to maximize the weight on the feet and to minimize the load on the fingers. This will conserve energy and maximize your point of contact with your foot. When climbing on the walls, remember the high step stretch and accentuate those movements. This will help familiarize your body with the desired movement and increase your range of motion.
Rest can often be found in seemingly impossible situations by simply accentuating the high step. Put your foot on a good hold and drop your other leg underneath and try and sit on your foot as much as possible. Forcing your bent knee down will help pull your weight into the wall and reduce the strain on your arms.
The second combination of stretches focuses on the flexibility necessary for stemming. Stemming is an important technique for finding rests and for spanning blank sections of surface. When you are in this position, remember to keep your hips close to the rock. Whenever you stretch, visualize the movement as if you were actually on the rock.
Effective stemming normally involves specific hip adjustment. Differences in the distance between holds and even the length of climbers' legs can be accounted for by rolling the hips to a particular side. The technique of back footing provides a rest and can help with difficult reaches.
Upper body stretches while warming up are commonly ignored. Yet these stretches are very important for injury prevention and increased climbing efficiency.
Here's a basic combination of movements, which when properly done will effectively stretch the upper body muscles used in climbing.
Start by stretching the hands and forearms. Move into lat and shoulder stretches, and finish by arching the back along the shoulders. Certain climbing and training maneuvers put tremendous forces on the structures in the shoulder joints. Stretching the shoulder muscles and other related tissues is critical for injury prevention. For the first shoulder stretch, pull the elbow up towards the opposite shoulder. You should feel tension in the muscles on the outside of the shoulder. For the second shoulder stretch, pull the arm behind the hip. Bend the head in the same direction, creating an arch that follows your neck through your shoulder and arm. Hold each shoulder stretch for at least 30 seconds.
To stretch and exercise the tendons and ligaments in the fingers, and to help prevent injuries, do this simple exercise. Cup one hand over the other hand, curl and then uncurl the inner hand, creating a resistance against the other hand. This extension with resistance helps to exercise and warm up the muscles and ligaments on the back of the hand, which is susceptible to strength imbalance caused by climbing.
Once you have finished these warm-up exercises, go over to the fingerboard and hang on to the largest hold several times for about 15 seconds during each hang. This will warm up your forearms and hands for bouldering on large holds.
The next phase of your warm-up routine is bouldering on large handholds. In order not to injure your fingers, it is important that you understand the difference between the cling grip and the open grip.
The cling grip hyperextends the tips of the fingers like this. You want to avoid this type of grip when bouldering and training. You should always use the open grip. It is very easy to develop chronic injuries of the fingers, especially in the joints. Do a number of easy problems, or do laps on a wall with large holds for for a few minutes. Concentrate on tuning your body to the vertical mode of movement. Challenge your range of motion and hesitate on movements that accentuate the stretches we've just covered. Allow your forearms and hands a chance to feel warm as the blood flow concentrates in that area. Big holds offer a superb endurance workout for strengthening the hands and forearms. The strategy is to stay on the wall for long periods of time until considerable fatigue occurs in the forearms. Aside from strengthening, this trains the capacity of your forearms to recover during shakeout or rest intervals. It also helps reinforce efficient movement patterns while climbing. More than any other exercise routine developed in the gym, this routine has shown the best results with climbers training to increase their stamina. This overhang wall has cutout holds and very large hand holds, which make it excellent for developing strong, exhaustion-resistant pulling and gripping muscles. On such a wall, try to move smoothly to avoid strain on elbows and shoulders. Sudden loading due to jerky exertions, slipping, or missed moves is an invitation to shoulder and elbow injuries. There are a variety of movements and exercises to be used on such a wall. You can do pull-ins, which strengthen the lats and upper back, and pull-up type movements that develop arm and shoulder muscles. You can also practice holding difficult static positions. This endurance routine strengthens muscles used for the pulling and pushing movements that are specific to climbing. Wall workouts on the large handhold wall and the overhang should not be done more than 3 times per week. Over the course of weeks, lengthen each routine on the wall by 30 seconds or 1 minute until you can stay on the wall for 10 to 15 minutes. At first, simply stay on the wall as long as your arms can take it.
On steep and vertical walls, holds often become too small and too difficult to reach. An effective technique for reaching holds beyond one's static reach is the dead point. The dead point technique is used instead of lunging or slapping for the next hold. To do the dead point, set your balance just below the lock-off high point and pull your body upwards and, importantly, inwards with a quick and smooth motion. Release for the next handhold and continue the upward motion, hitting the next hold at the dead point, or the highest point of your upward thrust before you begin falling away. Now for a workout on the fingerboard.
The fingerboard is a very effective way to improve contact strength as well as endurance. However, the fingerboard is an easy way to develop injuries from overzealous and excessively frequent sessions. Try to stick to these simple guidelines. First, hang with the elbow and shoulder joints slightly flexed. This diverts loading away from delicate joint structures. Second, do not use the cling grip, as mentioned before. Be sure to use the open grip. Third, do not use the fingerboard on consecutive days, and do not use it more than 2 or 3 times a week. There are several ways to use fingerboards, and several specific routines that are designed by the manufacturers of such boards. One example is to do a 15-minute routine with 7 sets of hangs and 8 sets of pulls. Intermix pulls and hangs in a variety of different holds. Use a watch to be sure you begin each set on the start of each minute. You want to avoid loading your fingers excessively for the first 4 to 6 weeks. Use the larger holds at first. Another benefit of fingerboard sequence-type workouts is that they increase your capacity for recovery during rest periods while climbing.
With endurance training, climbing on long routes, or even doing short, difficult sequences, the method of shaking out provides an important physical and mental break. Inexperienced climbers often forget the importance of these quick hand rests known as shaking out. This allows the arm and hand muscles to relax and allows the blood supply to restore. This shakeout period also gives you a chance to collect yourself and relax.
Before we begin the strength training exercises, let's define some important terms: load, set, repetition, and repetition maximum. Load refers to the weight lifted or resistance employed for an exercise. The most common way to determine your proper load is through trial and error, beginning with a light load. The term set refers to a number of repetitions done in succession before a rest is taken. A repetition or rep is one execution of an exercise. The term repetition maximum refers to the number of reps that you are capable of doing during a set with maximum effort. For example, if you do 12 consecutive reps of curls with 50 pounds and are unable to do a 13th rep, then 50 pounds is your 12 repetition maximum. Next, we will do strength training and performance-oriented exercises. It will take some trial and error to figure out what your actual workout weight should be. For most people, the guideline is that muscular fatigue should occur after 8 to 15 properly executed reps. Therefore, find the load for you that results in 8 to 15 repetition maximum. Once you've found the right load, do 2 to 3 sets of each exercise. Finally, increase your load incrementally over the weeks as you get stronger. But don't increase the load too quickly. Be systematic and be patient. We'll start with the pull-up exercise and the lat pull. The pull-up plays a very important role in rock climbing training. It is an efficient way to condition your large pulling muscles. Top climbers have long regarded pull-ups as a high-priority exercise. However, it is common for beginners to be unable to perform this important exercise. One can address this problem in several ways. One is to use partner assistance. Another way is to use the lat pull machine as a lead-in to the actual pull-up. With the lat pull machine, use a moderately wide grip while pulling the bar down in front of the face. Pull down with a smooth, controlled motion and execute these with moderate speed. Perform 2 to 3 sets with an 8 to 15 repetition maximum. The lat pulls are also an excellent way to warm up the body's major pulling muscles. To integrate this into the warm-up phase, do 1 or 2 sets of around 10 reps with a light to moderate load. The dip exercise strengthens the chest, shoulders, and triceps. Support your body weight on extended arms and lower your body until your upper arms are parallel with the floor. If you feel strong enough, let yourself go a bit lower. Then push yourself back up until your arms are extended. This exercise is particularly good for doing mantle moves. For this exercise, do 2 to 3 sets with an 8 to 15 repetition maximum. If you find the dips difficult to do, the bench dip is a good introduction to the regular dip. This does not require as much upper body strength as the regular dip. With your heels resting on a support, lower your hips until your upper arms are parallel with the floor. Then push your body upwards until your arms are fully extended. This exercise uses the same muscle groups as the regular dip, but you are only pressing part of your body weight. Once you have improved your strength, then you can move up to the regular dip.
In its pure form, the mantle move is a difficult blend of strength and flexibility. However, mantle strength is valuable in a wide variety of climbing movements. In initiating the mantle move, start by pulling yourself upwards, transferring your weight to your arms, then follow through with the movement. At the end of the move, your arms will be locked at the elbows, with all of your weight on your arms.
The bent-over row strengthens the upper back and elbow flexors. Support your body with one arm on the bench and pull the dumbbell up until your hand gripping the weight is adjacent to your chest at about shoulder level. Be sure to not rotate your torso during the lift, and be sure to keep your lower back straight or slightly arched. This exercise strengthens the muscle group you use for pulling into the rock when climbing. Do 2 to 3 sets with an 8 to 15 repetition maximum. The bench press is a good general exercise, which complements the pulling movements used when training and climbing. When doing the bench press, be sure you have a spotter or assistance to take the weight in case you cannot handle the load. Begin by lowering the bar to the chest, and then push it back overhead. Never arch your back or bounce the bar off the chest. Be very smooth with your movements. This workout should include 2 to 3 sets with an 8 to 15 repetition maximum. You can also integrate the bench press into your warm-up routine by doing 1 to 2 sets with a light to moderate load. Certain climbing and training activities produce tremendous forces in the shoulder joint. These forces can injure shoulder joint-related structures. Sometimes, a climber will develop great strength in the muscles responsible for pulling, but won't have developed sufficient strength in smaller muscles that balance the forces generated by the larger pulling muscles. This sets the stage for injuries to the joint capsules, the rotator cuff muscles, and other structures.
The internal and external rotations are considered by many climbers and therapists among the most important exercises in preventing shoulder injury.
The external and internal shoulder rotation exercises strengthen specific delicate muscles that help balance the forces generated by large pulling muscles. Do 2 to 3 sets with an 8 to 15 repetition maximum. It is imperative that this exercise be done very smoothly. You should always avoid straining. Remember that you are exercising small muscle groups. Start out with a 2.5-pound weight. You will be surprised how quickly your muscles will be fatigued. This is one of the most important exercises for preventing shoulder injuries. With the internal rotation, you may be able to use a little heavier weight. The muscle group being exercised in this case is a bit stronger than those exercised by the external shoulder rotation. The same principles apply here as with the external rotations. The next important exercise for injury prevention is for the forearms and elbows. Certain muscles in the flexor forearm area are a major source for contact strength. These muscles and tendons are anchored to the prominent bony area of the elbow. Climbers who do not exercise properly will often develop a condition called medial epicondylitis, otherwise known as climber's elbow. This is usually caused by overuse, overloading, sudden loading, or not warming up properly. The act of gripping holds puts stress on the inside portion of the elbow. An excellent way to protect against climber's elbow is to perform a resistance pronation exercise. This exercise develops the muscles on the outside of the arm, which counter the stronger muscles that are on the inside of the arm. This device, called the pronator, helps prevent climber's elbow. The first exercise is the pronation or internal wrist rotation. You should keep the forearm horizontal and the elbow stationary. The second exercise is the supination or external wrist rotation. For each exercise, start by doing 2 to 4 sets with an 8 to 15 repetition maximum. Execute with slow, moderate speed, and always avoid jerky movements.
A major component of the hand which is often forgotten and rarely used to its fullest extent is the thumb. This variation is an effective use of the thumb that does not strain the fingers. While having less range and initially feeling less positive when gripping, using the thumb under the fingers can conserve energy in the hands.
The reverse curl provides a good overall conditioning of the elbow flexors. To do the reverse curl, grab the bar with an overhand grip at about shoulder width apart. Start with straight arms, then raise the bar to shoulder level, using only the elbow flexion. You do not want to bounce the weight up with your upper body. Do 2 to 3 sets with an 8 to 15 repetition maximum. Contact strength is influenced by many factors. One of these is the strength of the wrist extensor muscles. Strong wrist extensors can improve your contact strength. Also, the condition of the wrist extensor muscles is very important in preventing overuse of the lateral portion of the elbow. The wrist extension exercise is performed by raising and lowering the dumbbell or a barbell with the forearms supported and with the palms in the down position. You should do 2 sets with a 13 to 16 repetition maximum. The crunch sit-ups are good for strengthening the abdominal muscles. Remember to curl the abdomen and not to raise your trunk with your hip muscles. Do 2 to 3 sets with 13 to 20 repetitions. Squats strengthen the leg muscles responsible for hip and knee joint motion. If you are unsure of how much weight you can handle, start by using the bar without any weights. Position the bar just below the prominent bump on the back of the neck. Descend until your thighs are parallel with the floor and return to the standing position. It is very important to maintain a slight curve in the lower back. To start with, do 8 to 15 reps with 50% of your maximum load. Add another set later on when you feel strong enough. Squats are also an excellent way to warm up the hip and knee joint motion. To integrate squats into your warm-up routine, do about 15 reps with a very light load. Using your feet properly is important for efficient and precise climbing. When making your next move, move your foot to the next foothold. Before moving your body, transfer your weight onto that foot. Transfer your body over the weighted foot, then make the move. Be sure to commit your weight to the foot before committing to the move. This will allow you to make each move with strength and confidence.
The legs have an enormous amount of strength as compared to the arms. However, they are rarely used effectively by climbers. Even on lower angle walls, climbers tend to pull themselves up instead of pushing themselves up. To use your legs more efficiently when climbing, make each act of pushing up with the legs as though it was a separate move in itself. Bring your feet up as high as possible, establish your balance and stand up, then reach to the next hold. What we've shown you is a basic exercise program designed in a rock climbing gym that will help you climb with confidence and without injury.
In starting your program, do the exercises demonstrated in this video 3 days per week, or perhaps every other day. In the initial stage, your program will take about 45 minutes. For variation, you can also organize your workout routine into circuit routines. A circuit routine is when you perform one set of each exercise until you have completed all exercises. Then repeat the exercises 2 to 3 times. Your rest interval should be about 30 to 60 seconds between each exercise. Then rest a few minutes between circuits. Once you have established a comfortable program and routine, stay with it for a few weeks before adding additional loads and weights. It will take a while to gain knowledge and familiarity with weight training. With each stage of your training program, add just a few more pounds of weight, a few more minutes on the walls, and a little more load on the fingerboards. Each level of your program should last at least 3 to 4 weeks before adding loads. Exercising for rock climbing in an indoor gym like the Vertical Club is a good way to stay in shape, whether you climb on real rock or not.
So if you follow these basic principles, you will find that staying in shape for rock climbing is rather simple. So until later, go find a rock gym and have fun.